Hello and welcome to the third of Reform UK's National Canvassing Days. I'm Charlie Rowley and we are live at the top of Millbank Tower from Reform HQ, and this afternoon we'll be crossing the UK to special guests including Reform UK MPs. With less than a week until polling day, thousands of Reform UK activists are out and about spreading the message of Reform UK. The aim of today, well, it's very simple. Knock on as many doors as you possibly can. The 3 branches that knock on the most doors will win big cash prizes. You don't want to miss that. This is Reform UK's National Canvassing Day, and it's live! Well, very exciting stuff there. Good afternoon and welcome. We are live from Reform UK HQ here in central London. Now, recent polling shows that Reform UK is surging. Reform UK has now led over 275 consecutive opinion polls. That only means one thing, that Labour and the Conservatives are in real trouble. So with less than a week to go until polling day, this is Reform UK's third live national canvassing day. And today, it's about knocking on as many doors as possible right across the country and spreading that vital message of Reform UK directly to people across the country. Up and down the land, thousands of Reform UK activists are out speaking to voters, knocking on doors, all ahead of those crucial local elections in just 5 days' time. Now, the focus is very simple, folks. Get out, have those conversations and locate that support for Reform UK. Elections, as we all know, are one on the doorsteps, one conversation at a time. And Reform UK is out in force doing exactly that. So remember, Reform UK's message today, it's very clear. Vote Reform and get Starmer out. I think we can all get behind that, can't we, in this studio? First, let me quickly, very quickly introduce you to my 2 fabulous studio guests for the first hour this afternoon. They are Belinda DeLucy, former Brexit Party MEP, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see
and, of course, Layla Cunningham, Reform UK candidate for the Mayor of London. Hello to you both.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Are you well looking forward to today?
I am very much looking forward to today. I was in Ealing earlier, and honestly, every other car was honking in support in Ealing, which has, been a Labour stronghold for quite a while.
Well, there you go.
I know, it was fantastic.
I got a few honks on the way here by the cars, but I don't think anyone was supporting me. I think I was just in the middle of the road.
Luckily, we were on the pavement. Because I did get a few messages on social media saying, the only reason why they're honking you is so you get out of the way. But actually, we were on the pavement.
Yeah, I'm sure they were enthusiastically done in support of Reform.
Enthusiastic. And are you enthusiastic about today, Belinda? Is this a great day?
Incredible. I mean, the energy and the selflessness of those people taking their time off on a Saturday for the next few days, just walking up and down the streets. They're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for their country, for their children, their grandchildren. It is an incredible force. The British people always rise up in times of need throughout our history, and this is just us carrying on that very important baton that we were handed on by our grandparents and so forth.
Well, we're very pleased that you're taking off your Saturday afternoon to join us here at Reform UK HQ. More from you later on. Thank you so much for giving up the time and being with us.
Pleasure.
Now, we can also take a look at where we are today, with guests joining us from right across the country. So, let's begin in the south, where once the great Layla Cunningham has finished here, she'll be hot-footing it down to Barnet, I understand.
Yeah, and you listen, but Barnet, we're going to do very well in Barnet. Again, the Conservatives are busy spreading lies about us, because that's all really they have to offer.
Well, we'll be coming to you, Barnet, because after Barnet we'll be going to the southeast, where Matt Goodwin is in Bedford speaking to voters and supporters on the ground. We'll be hearing from him later on. Next, as you just saw there, up to Runcorn, where Sarah Pochin, MP, is out meeting residents and hearing from voters there. Next to the Midlands, Ray Addison is going to be joined by Robert Jenrick in Birmingham, engaging with activists and campaign teams there. And then after a little chat with Ray and Robert there, double trouble, we'll also be going to the Midlands, where Richard Tice is joined by George Finch in Warwickshire. They'll be talking to volunteers also out on the doorstep. And then finally, across to Essex, where Lyndon Kemcaran, Stephen Atkinson and Jamie McIver, all there in Essex supporting local campaign efforts on the ground in the southeast. Look at them all there, up and down the country, talking to voters, getting out there, spreading the message, getting your voter identities up and making sure that people are getting the message of why people should support Reform UK. But here in the studio, we also have a live leaderboard running. Now, this is going to monitor how many doors each branch has been knocking on. And here's the exciting part. By the end of the day, the branch that knocks on the most doors will win a whopping £5,000 cash prize. The branch in second place wins £2,500, and the branch in third place will win £1,000, which is still quite a sizable sum of money, if you ask me. So it's all to play for. If you're watching this from your local branch, now is your moment. This is the board here. We've got Tameside currently leading the way, Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham in second, Blackpool and Fleetwood in third, and then Hartlepool and Sefton in fourth and fifth.
Can we just mention Barnet, where I'm hot-footing it after? In sixth place.
Well, and after, if you knock on just a few more doors, you will be jumping into fifth place, and you could jump even higher.
That's great.
So there we are.
Barnet flying the flag for London.
Oh, you have a mission today.
Exactly.
Well, it's all to play for, and currently, you know, winning £5,000, amazing cash prize can do a lot for your branch, can't it?
Absolutely.
Produces those leaflets, you know, the campaign material, helps you put on events to attract more members in. It's crucial stuff, isn't it?
100%. But also, knocking on doors is what makes us win.
Well, and we've knocked on already 75,009 doors. This is brilliant stuff. Live coming in, live to the studio. 75,000 doors knocked on, 47,000 voter identities collected, and over 246 active branches. Those are 246 local associations that are out there knocking on doors, getting campaign teams together as we speak.
Reform feels like a force of nature at the moment. It's incredible. I've not seen that from any other party.
It's a force of nature. There you are. You're absolutely right. Well, we'll be coming to this table later on just to see how those branches and associations are going on. But now, I'm delighted to say we can cross live to Warwickshire, where we have Reform UK Deputy Leader Richard Tice and Leader of Warwickshire County Council, George Finch. Hello, good afternoon to you both. George, I can see you there. How's it going where you are with Deputy Leader Richard Tice?
Hello, good afternoon, Charlie. We're in Bulkington in Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough. I'm here with Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader. How's it going?
Oh, what a day. Unbelievable. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic national canvassing day. Goodness me, we've been busy. I've been this morning in Willenhall in Coventry. Amazing response. Extraordinary things are going to happen. And then with you earlier in Nuneaton campaigning. I tell you what, George, something is definitely happening out there. And I've got a prediction, Charlie. I'm hopeful that we're going to outperform all of the polls, and we are going to outperform all of the doomsayers and the nonsense we're hearing. It's incredible the response we're getting out on the doors.
Definitely. In Coventry, it is phenomenal, but you were there today as well. What were the people on the doorstep saying in Coventry?
Just literally bring it on, vote reform, and that message, vote reform, get Starmer out, absolutely landing everywhere. People are sick and tired of this Prime Minister. They're sick and tired in Coventry, wasting money on daft schemes. I have to say, I think the Labour MPs in Coventry, including Fruit and Nut, Zara Sultana, I think they may get a surprise at the next general election, because there's no love for Labour or for Zara from what we're hearing.
Definitely. You know what? We're seeing it up and down the West Midlands. You were even in Birmingham, weren't you? And Absolutely. What was it like in Birmingham?
I'm back to Birmingham tomorrow, and yeah, just wherever we are going, the word is spreading. It's quite remarkable. And occasionally we have to take a little bit of time out and have a drink just to sort of recharge the batteries, because we're pounding the streets. The data is going into Reform Go, the voter intentions, but also people working on getting out the vote on Thursday. That's going to be a massive, massive thing, Charlie. Making sure that people are ready to get out the vote so that we win every single councillor possible.
Exactly right. I feel like a weather girl, but we're going to go around some of the candidates and some of the volunteers now, so follow us. Come on through. Shane, you're one of our candidates for Stocking Ford West. How do you think it's going?
I think it's going brilliantly. been a tremendous day today, especially with Richard out today helping us, getting us some positive vibes, positive votes, and we're going to smash it come next week.
And you're drinking a lovely pint of Carling as well, right?
Helping the British, support their campaign for helping the British pubs.
Well, there we go.
Reform are going to help save our British pub.
Exactly right. Let's come round here, some other candidates and some other voters. Richard Brill, you're our candidate for Eastborough. Do you want to say a bit to the camera? How's it going in Eastborough?
Well, at the moment we'll pass on that one.
No, it's all right. He's doing really well in Eastborough. We've got many, many supporters. And if we could come to Camp Hill, candidate now. I know you've got a pint of Guinness, but we want to hear how it's going in Camp Hill. Go on.
Actually, it's gone very well. Colin, by the way. Sorry, you put me right on the edge with this one. Right, campaigning has been very positive. What I've found is on the doorsteps, and we've been round about 1,000. We're getting a lot of people who are saying they're just fed up and not getting listened to. And all I can say is the local candidate who lives there, I do listen to the people. I share the same concerns that they've got, and I'll do the best I can to sort it out for them.
Wonderful. There we go. Right, we're going to go back now to Richard Tice, but I must say this app is absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to fall over here and hurt myself because I'll be no use to anyone then. But we're going back now to Richard. I'm getting old, you see. If I fall over, I might not get back up.
We're just trying to work out, I mean, he's who looks younger? That's one of the big questions on the doors that we've been trying to grapple with, Charlie. Who's the younger? But anyway, it's. I
think it's definitely me.
Only just.
Only just.
No, is it Botox? No, only joking.
No, sunbeds.
Sunbeds.
As Jeremy Kyle said.
Literally, I found his tanning studio. I mean, unbelievable. He's got a VIP debenture slot in the tanning studio.
Right, back to the studio.
The great thing, before you go, the great thing I love about where you've just been is that most people like a nice little tipple after a canvassing session, but you do it the other way around. You're geeing them up, getting the troops ready to go and knock on those doors. And I'm assuming, George, can you just do me a favour and ask Richard, are they all wearing shoes or white trainers?
Are they wearing shoes or white trainers? What are our candidates wearing?
Fortunately, people are properly dressed. None of this nonsense white trainers that Mr. Charlie Rowley had last weekend that I was just...
Look at our shoes. We've got proper shoes.
Proper shoes, Charlie. Polished for the day. You need to get out there and buy a pair. That's what's required.
Definitely. Shop at a proper shop.
I've got my shoes on today. I've got shoes on today.
He's got his shoes on today.
I'm very pleased to hear it. He's learnt finally.
Thank you.
I certainly have. I've learned from the best, and that's you, Richard Tice, and we'll be catching up with you both later on. Thank you so much. Keep at it. I hope they're okay when they go out on the doorsteps, but it certainly gives you a bit of a swing in your step, isn't it?
They're also doing their duty in saving Britain's pubs. I think it's brilliant that Reform are already doing that.
Quite right too.
I mean, the thing about Reform is everyone is so enthusiastic, but we're also fun. We're not boring. We like to have fun. We're a big family all across the country. Everyone I meet is honestly incredibly enthusiastic and hopeful. No one's out there campaigning begrudgingly. Like when I was part of the Conservative Party, you kind of be like, oh God, I've got to go knock on some doors. And
there's an energy, isn't there?
There's energy, there's hope, because everyone knows that this is the real deal.
And I think it's that hope that scares the establishment a bit, because they have taken years demoralising, discrediting, trying to make people feel defeated, that there's no point in going out to vote. They've forgotten the British spirit. They've forgotten who we are and where we come from, and they're going to have a reckoning, I tell you that.
Well, it's a perfect analysis because as the elections are just a few days away, those local elections, let's just have a quick reminder as to why we're here.
In the early hours of the 8th of May, we are going to witness another political earthquake when Reform achieve results that nobody can yet believe. But in the Isle of Wight, Hampshire, Sussex, London, Milton Keynes, Suffolk, Essex, Yorkshire, I've been all over the country. And most people who've come to these events have never been to a political meeting in their lives. And it shows me something remarkable is happening out there, and it's because people understand that the two-party system has broken Britain. Keir Starmer says Britain's not broken. This here will be a referendum on Keir Starmer's premiership of this country. This is the most unpatriotic, the most dishonest, the most dissembling, the most undeserving Prime Minister we have had in any of our lifetimes. And on May the 7th, if we deliver the kind of result that I believe is possible, Starmer would be out of office by the end of May. Isn't that worth fighting for? If you want change, on May the 7th, you've got a chance to vote for change. And what we learned on May the 1st last year in the English county elections is if you vote reform, you get reform. And whilst running local government is not easy, and whilst no one can wave a magic wand, I'm proud of our record of the first 10 months in government. I really, really am. We have to have the mentality that we fight to win absolutely everywhere we stand. That is the only way. And you can all be part of this people's army. You can deliver leaflets, you can speak to your friends, you can go to the bingo hall, the pub, wherever it may be, and spread the message that if this country is going to have change, if this country is going to have hope, it is only Reform UK that will bring that. Are you yourselves prepared to stand up and make a commitment to help us? Thank you very much indeed. Onward to May the 7th!
Well, brilliant stuff there, and I'm now delighted to be joined live in Rayleigh and Wickford by leader of Kent County Council, Lyndon Kemcaran. Lyndon, nice to see you there, I think. Just setting up with a huge turnout of activists I can see behind you there. You've come from Kent, you're campaigning in Essex. What's the mood like where you are with all your volunteers behind you?
Well, it's fantastic here in Essex. I mean, I just had a bit of a blip because it's so hot. It's like being on the French Riviera. My phone actually overheated and we lost the connection, but we're back up now, raring to go. So this crowd is fantastic. They've been out knocking on about 2,000 doors in the last few weeks. Can you believe that? And they've had an overwhelmingly positive response to reform. It's really quite incredible. People are desperate for change, and when these guys knock on doors, they know they're going to get it. They're cheerful, they're friendly, they're welcoming, and they're committed. Is there any better advert for Reform UK?
Well, you could, if you knock on a few more doors, appear on my leaderboard that you might see later on and find yourself winning a nice £5,000 cash prize sum to help your areas. But what you were saying just a second ago, knocking on those doors, exactly. What you were saying, just knocking on doors there, tell people, because it's National Canvassing Day today, it's the third one that Reform UK are putting on. There might be people, because we know politics can be quite volatile, it can be quite demanding and toxic at times. Tell people who might be sitting at home today why they should go and knock on doors. Because you just said that the response has been very good, very welcoming, very great. But there might be people that are a little bit trepidatious about doing it. Why should people get off their sofas, come and join you, knock on those doors for Reform UK? What is the mood like? What do they get when they see someone on the doorstep being so positive about Reform UK?
I mean, that is a great question. Personally, I love knocking on doors. You know, it's not for everybody. And what I would say to people sitting on their sofas, a little bit unsure, is join your local branch, because there are so many jobs. It's not all about knocking on doors. It's about leafleting. It's about going to meetings. It's about generally helping out, stuffing envelopes. Every bit of help you can give to your local candidate to win these crucial elections on May the 7th is absolutely wanted and needed and so valuable. But we love knocking on doors, don't we, Gav? Yeah, we absolutely do. We do. We love meeting local people, and it's a great opportunity not just to talk at them, but to listen to them, to listen to their concerns, to listen to their worries, and try and offer them a bit of hope that if they vote for Reform UK, they will get a politician, not some professional, slick, polished person who's in it for themselves, but somebody who has come up because they really care, somebody who's standing for election, who's bravely putting themselves on that ballot paper to make a real difference, because my goodness me, they know that this country needs saving, and standing for election locally is the first step towards doing that.
Absolutely. Well done.
I think you're absolutely right, and you're very lucky, no thanks to Nigel, it seems, that you've got local elections taking place, because they were cancelled, obviously, last year, or the attempt of this government to cancel them. Your message on the doorstep is very clear. vote reform, get Starmer out. That kind of politician. You talked about slick politicians, charismatic, professional. He doesn't seem to be any of that. But is that a message that the public are really coming through with? Are they telling you that they want to get rid of Sir Keir Starmer? They think that he can't deliver for this country anymore, both locally or nationally, and they want to get rid of him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's really coming through really strongly. I think Reform's message of vote reform, get Starmer out, has resonated with the people. Certainly here in Essex, people have had enough. They're feeling desperate. They're feeling miserable. They're feeling nobody is listening to them in Westminster. And by the fact that we're going out, we're knocking on doors. Some people are opening the door and saying they've never had a local councillor or politician knock on their door, or they haven't had one for years and years. And they get us, Reform UK, going door to door. 2,000 is some number, isn't it, in just a few weeks. Meeting them, going to local meetings, we're holding meetings, we're inviting people to come to us and tell us what they believe in and tell us their worries and their hopes and their dreams, and vote for Reform UK, because we can offer that hope. But more importantly, by voting Reform UK on May the 7th, it is one guaranteed way of getting Keir Starmer out of office. And that really has to be our overall thrust for this campaign, I think.
Lyndon, I couldn't put it better myself. You've got a great team behind you there in the background. You look as though you're chomping at the bit to go and take to the streets and find those voters, knock on those doors, and you could appear on my leaderboard. There you are. Off you go. I'll let you get to it. Thanks so much, Lyndon, and we'll be coming to Essex, I know, a bit later on in the programme. But take care. Thank you. Goodbye. Whilst they're out on the road in Essex, great bunch there, weren't they?
I just feel like I've been hit by a wave of sunshine. What an incredible group. That energy that they had, that is exactly the positivity that all the other legacy party lacks. I mean, they're all about decline and defeatism. They're all about slagging each other off and infighting. Reform is like this burst, this ray of sunshine, and that wonderful group in Essex just totally personified that. I want to hang out with them. I want to go knocking on the doors with them. But that's replicated across this country. The great British public are positive, enthusiastic, people's army, and they know change can happen, but only through reform. Amazing.
I know it is amazing, and I've been all across London almost daily, and in London, which is traditionally a very Labour stronghold, no matter where you go, there's reform support. Londoners are sick and tired, and I know you're a Londoner, of being taken for granted. Sometimes people don't even knock on people's doors anymore. They just assume you're going to get the vote, and not only that, but they push policy and ideology that no one voted for. For instance, and I know I've said this a lot of times, but in London, 15 boroughs are sanctuary boroughs, which means that they prioritise refugees, illegal migrants, over Londoners. We've got blanket 20 miles per hour
and
across
that's a big
London.
thing in Essex as well, isn't it? There'll be London and Essex, won't it? Where we've just heard from Lyndon, but across the country.
But I mean, this is actual council policy. In Barnet, for instance, is one of the councils that bid the government for social housing for refugees in Barnet, where there's a housing crisis across London, and I think that's why people are turning to reform. Another thing is the 20 mile per hour blanket ban zones in London, and we learned that more people are getting done for 23 miles per hour than they are for speeding on the motorway. Good policy protects people, bad policy punishes people, and this is what it's doing. It's not catching drivers. It's not catching reckless drivers. It's just catching drivers. And so people just want to know that people are on their side in terms of, we want Londoners to have housing. We don't want to punish you every time you get in your car. We want you to have safe streets. I speak to so many women who don't feel safe, and that's why people are turning to reform, because the other parties have let them down.
And it's really worth voting. Before in London, I've lived in London 25 years, there's no point in voting. Labour will always get in. They're the machine, they're the big muscle that we can't fight. Things are changing, especially with Layla now. That you have given people in London so much hope, because now it's really worth getting off your sofa and going to the ballot box and voting in the London mayoral election, because there's a big chance now, and there is another choice. That's what reform's all about. There's another way.
There's another way, and I just want to tell people who are watching, council elections are won by 1 or 2 votes. And I know you might be tired when you come back from work. You're like, it's not going to make a difference if I vote. It's 9 o'clock. They're open till 10. Just put that vote in, and it really, so many are. I mean, Sarah Poaching won by 6 points, and that's an MP election. So a council elections, it really does hinge on 1 or 2. So please put your vote in. don't think that your vote won't make a difference, because it really will.
Getting out the vote, knocking on those doors, having those conversations, as we talked about earlier on, it's won. Council elections are won just by those conversations. But Lyndon talked about the way in which campaigns are run. It's not just by knocking on doors, it's not just by having leaflets. You can support in other ways. Cue some lovely merchandise that I see before you. Could you just show this up to the team? Now, these 2 new Reform UK, I think, football shirts that are being
fantastic.
Advertised. They look fantastic, don't they?
That's me Saturday night in the pub now.
And I love the pink. I don't think there's enough pink. Right? There's not enough pink.
Exactly,
I think all girls like pink.
Yeah, and real men wear pink too. Isn't that what I'm saying?
I think the team that we saw in Warwickshire with George Finch, they would love that one.
Yeah,
I
love that. It's absolutely fabulous, and a bit with the pink ladies. It's quite like that.
And listen, I think I have one of the biggest mug collections. I think I'd love to add this to my collection, but I'm voting Reform. I think you should all have a mug, and my pin, just so people, in case you're wondering who I support, you can always know without speaking.
I think you're absolutely right.
Go to the website for more information. It's all available, and I think the merch. I love merch.
Yeah, I love.
I'm waiting for the Reform hoodie.
Oh yeah,
I do like a hoodie.
And scarf. When I start seeing people on the London Tube wearing Reform caps, that's when I will get this sense that things are changing.
So I do wear it actually.
Do you?
And it's interesting because people, it's a black one, and people would look at me and go, "Huh, is that what I think it is?" I wear it with pride, and if someone has a problem with it, they can come and talk to me about it. I love
courage
wearing.
Calls to courage. That's how you get the momentum going. People
I love wearing my Reform merch.
Safer, coming out and showing where their flag is held.
And just back to the voting, I spoke to a lady today in Ealing, and she came to speak to me, and she said, "Listen, I've always been a Conservative voter," and she said, "Why should I vote Reform?" And I asked her, "Are you happy with the past 14 years?" She goes, "No, of course not." And I said, "You voted for low immigration, you got millions. You wanted low tax." She goes, "Of course, I said, "You got the highest tax since World War II. You got worse public safety. Everything that they said they're going to do, they did the polar opposite." And she said, "You're completely right." I said, "So if you always vote the same, what changes?" And I said, no one owes their party loyalty, you owe the country loyalty.
Well, the tide is turning in London, as you say. We'll see you later on in the studio.
And they'll be number 5, hopefully.
And exactly, Barnet will be up there. But for all the information about merchandise, you can go to the website. But also, if you haven't already done it, you can download the Reform Go app. Now, this is a platform to keep you up to date with everything going on at Reform UK, including upcoming events and information about how to join the party, how you can get your family along. Keep up to date with everything that's going on across the country, but also in your borough or county. Just search Reform Go in the App Store now. Now, as part of Reform UK's key message to fix Britain, Robert Jenrick, the party's Shadow Chancellor, joined leader Nigel Farage at Heathrow Airport recently. Together, they announced how, under a Reform UK government, they reduced taxes on your air travel. Let's take a watch.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Heathrow Airport. The government's net zero policies are damaging the pockets of absolutely everybody. Families aren't just hit with domestic fuel bills, aren't just hit with filling up their car, they're also hit with going on their summer holidays.
We are the only party that is truly committed to cutting the cost of living. That's why we're announcing today that a Reform government in our first budget will get rid of the family holiday tax. Air passenger duty will be gone for short haul. That will save a family, on average, £45 on their flights. For example, as a family to Malaga, you would save 23% on the cost of your flights. Now, we appreciate that's not a huge amount of money, but it's an important saving that will make it just a bit easier to have that family trip, to have a bit of fun, to get away and spend time with your loved ones. So whilst we're cutting it at Reform on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day of course, Rachel Reeves is hiking this same tax. That's the difference between Reform and this Labour government. We're going to cut taxes, cut your bills, and cut the cost of living. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that was Reform UK's Shadow Chancellor Robert Jenrick there, and I'm delighted to say that he now joins us live in Birmingham with the host of the Reform UK podcast, Ray Addison. Good to see you, Ray. How's it all going in Birmingham, where you are?
Yeah, it's been really good. I'm actually in Sheldon, which is in the east of Birmingham, about 6 miles from the city centre. This has been a Labour-dominated area here since around about 2012, and you can see the activists behind me. They've been very busy this morning and throughout the last few months as well. They've knocked on around 600 doors, they tell me, today alone, and across the whole of Birmingham, we're going on for about 50,000, I'm told, although we might need to fact check that. I'm not quite sure. Maybe they're being a little bit too optimistic, we'll see. But as he said, I'm joined now by Robert Jenrick, Shadow Chancellor for Reform. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hi, very good to be here.
How much of a target are areas like Birmingham and obviously the areas in Birmingham and the West Midlands in general?
Yeah, look, it's incredibly important to us. I grew up down the road in Wolverhampton. This area matters to us, and it's a huge opportunity. In every single one of the 13 councils of the West Midlands that are up on the 7th of May, from Newcastle under Lyme to Solihull, it is only Reform that can stop Labour and the Green Party. Maybe in some crazy left-wing coalition running these councils. A vote for the Lib Dems, wasted vote. Vote for the Conservative Party, wasted vote. So Reform is the only way that local people who are sick of their councils wasting money, not giving good public services. Look at Birmingham, the litter on the roads, the terrible record of its council. Reform is the only way to get a good, common sense council back, and that is why we're working so hard with great candidates like Rachel beside me to make sure that Reform doesn't just do well, but we win. We want to win all of those councils if we can.
Yeah, we're joined by a lot of campaigners and volunteers here today. Now, when I think back to the Brexit vote campaign, it was the digital media, the advertising online, social media was very, very important here. But we're really pushing alongside that as well with Reform. We're really pushing for these canvassing events, knocking on doors. Why is that so important in 2026?
Well, look, you can only get so far just by, having the best social media in the business. We've got incredible reach. Look at the stuff that Nigel does. He is the best politician in British politics on social media. Your fantastic podcast, but nothing beats talking to people on the doorstep. So we have to marry everything that we've managed to achieve on social media and those of us who go out on the media for the party with old-fashioned campaigning of putting leaflets through doors, knocking on doors, persuading people that Reform is the right party for them, that we can win with their support, and if we do, then we'll deliver better public services, cheaper council tax. We will fix each and every one of these councils, and that is a stepping stone then to getting on and fixing the country at the next general election. And so we really need the support of the members. We've got almost 300,000 members, 275,000 members. It's an incredible thing, the biggest political party in the country today. But we need our members to get out on the streets in these last few days, knock on the doors, post the leaflets, get the vote out.
There you go. We've got some passers-by driving past, tooting their horns in support. Now, obviously, we talk about the campaigners getting on the doorsteps and motivating our potential voters. But what about motivating our campaigners as well to come out and take part in days like this? How important is that for us?
Yeah, look, we are the most fun party in politics today, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's great fun to do these events. We're probably going to go to the pub after this, chat to each other. Look, it's a good thing to do. You make friends, enjoy it. That's what Reform is all about. And you're doing something very, very important by coming out, because we've just now got a few days to get out all of the Reform voters, persuade some more people to come across, persuade those people who might even be sceptical about Reform. Maybe you've voted Lib Dem. We were just talking about some of the people that Rachel's been talking to. Maybe you voted Lib Dem for years. Maybe you voted Conservative for years and years. But persuade those people that Reform is the only answer. If Reform don't win, for example, in Birmingham, then it's going to be some insane coalition of the left, Gaza independents, the Green Party, the Labour Party. Nothing's going to change. It's probably going to get even worse, if that's possible, in Birmingham. And imagine at the general election what that means. It means Prime Minister Angela Rayner, in bed with Zach Polansky and Ed Davey running the country. We can't allow that to happen, and so we've got to ensure that we get out our vote this time, and we do so again in a few years when it comes to the election.
It doesn't bear thinking about, it really doesn't. We've only got about 60 seconds left, but just quickly, what are some of the key issues that you're hearing from our volunteers who are out there campaigning on the doorsteps?
Well, ask Rachel, because Rachel is our brilliant candidate who's here.
What are you hearing, Rachel?
On hundreds of doors.
So the main issue I would say that we're hearing at the moment is potholes. Potholes are rife around here, and they have been for ages and ages. HMOs is another big issue as well. And one thing I have noticed, what people have been saying when I've been knocking on the doors, is no other party have been knocking on their doors and have really bothered to have conversations with them on the doorstep. So they're really thankful that we're out here actually knocking the doors and asking for their support.
Well, it's great to see everybody down here. You guys have been doing excellent work. We've got some, I don't know if that's a car alarm or just somebody who's massively enthusiastic for us here in the West Midlands. But from Birmingham, back to you guys.
Well, thanks so much, Ray. Brilliant stuff there on the ground with your Shadow Chancellor, Rob Jenrick there. And just a word on that podcast, by the way. If you do want to download that podcast, I think you absolutely should. Episode 5 dropped, I think, yesterday. You can see it on your screens now. You can download the Reform podcast. Just pop up your camera, scan that QR code, and it'll come straight to your phone. A brilliant listen. Ray, we always love listening to you. Thank you so much. We'll be joining you, I know, again a little bit later on. Thank you to you and the team. Send Rob on his way and those activists. Get out and knock on those doors. And as I say, we'll see you a little bit later on. But now, we can have a little look at that live leaderboard. This is, as I said before, this is monitoring how many people are out and about, knocking on doors up and down the country. And, we'll start at the bottom. Barnet, that was in, I think, 6th place, has leapfrogged into 4th there. It must have been your encouragement.
Yeah, exactly. It's the anticipation of going live.
And you're almost, I mean, a couple of hundred, you could be in bronze place, you could be in a shot of winning £1,000.
Some cash.
So Blackpool and Fleetwood currently in 3rd place. You're on course for £1,000, depending on how many more doors you knock on. In 2nd place, Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham, knocking on over 2,000 doors just this afternoon. You're on track to win £2,500, a brilliant cash prize if you ask me, but still in the lead. Only just knocking on 2,147 doors, 249, I can see now, 2,149. Tameside still in the lead. But look at this, a total number of doors that have been knocked on throughout this campaign and this canvassing session. 80,000 doors. 80,000 doors. Brilliant. And over 50,000 voter IDs collected. That's brilliant. And we've still got those 246 active
Any chance we can see the top 10 or just to give them a look in?
Well, we can only go up to we've got 6. Hartlepool in 6. Greenwich is in 5th.
Greenwich. We've got 2 flying the flag for London.
We've got 6. Greenwich and Barnet.
Excellent.
It must be they're doing it for you.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
But that's brilliant stuff.
Oh, hang on. We're going down. We're getting some. Milton Keynes, number 9.
Lincoln, Sefton, Milton Keynes in number 9. Thurrock, I think that is in 10th place. Thurrock. What are you doing in Thurrock? Come on, get out there, Thurrock. I've been to Thurrock. In fact, we did one of our local election tour stops there. Thurrock's
fantastic.
Very nice place.
But I mean, these are areas that you wouldn't think. You know, we are galvanising the whole country. You know, people that areas that you wouldn't think a party like Reform, because I don't think it's not about left or right anymore. It's about issues. You know, people want a government that serves them. They want to keep more of their money. They want safer streets. They want to be able to afford a home. They want sovereign borders. You know, they want to be able to create a business and be rewarded for that risk of creating a business. And sadly, all those things are so lacking right now.
Well, you talked about stronger borders there. I mean, obviously, that's one of the key issues that Reform UK are canvassing on. But as a former Brexit MEP, I mean, and the whole Brexit campaign, I mean, it's over a decade ago now, but that's still an issue that rumbles on. We still haven't been able to protect our borders.
And you know, the sad thing, when that vote came through in 2016, we couldn't believe it because it was such a huge expression, the largest democratic vote in Britain's history. People came out who'd never voted before, and as you said, it wasn't about left or right back then. It was about, we want our laws back from a foreign parliament. And the way the establishment reacted, the incandescent rage of the media and political
and the rage still goes on.
And the rage still goes on at the very thought of Britain governing itself. I mean, they were absolutely unravelling brimming with the idea of being free and independent and holding democracy. And I think that spooked and terrified millions of Brits, saying, wow, Westminster's fallen, it's been captured. Why are they so anti having more power, right? And I think that's carried on through. Brexit was a first step. Reform has morphed out of it beautifully. And it is all now about laser-like focus on the rot in Parliament that EU membership brought it. And who pulls the levers of power? Because I think a lot of people on the street that I've met, we don't know who's making the decisions. And I think that's what reform is going to expose, all that, and bring Parliament back to the people, to serve the people. Because Gen Z, I tell you what, they've never lived under a government that puts British interests first. And when reform get in, if they get in, it's going to blow their minds.
And you say, reform, you're right, they have been able to fill that void. But why is that? Because we had that vote in 2016. We then had, obviously, Brexit, where some people argue under the Tories whether it was delivered, whether it wasn't. You had the levelling up agenda. These are communities, particularly in the north of the country, northeast and the northwest, that voted for Brexit, but it was because they felt they were communities that had been left behind. The government in Westminster doesn't actually work for them. So 10 years on, we're still having the same conversations where people have felt that successive governments, whether they voted Conservative in 2019, whether they voted now Labour in 2024, people are still dissatisfied. They haven't had the service that they are entitled to and rightly entitled to. Is that why reform has been able to tap into the people's grievances and understand that the two-party system just doesn't work for people anymore and it's time for reform?
Yeah, people voted, I think, for many folds. One is, like Belinda said, is we have had successive leaders that have chipped away at our sovereignty for global partnerships, and those global partnerships have done no good for our country. You have parts of the country in London, Midlands, North, all across the country, where mass migration has not only changed the fabric of the country, it's changed the way of life, the culture, the values, and it's also undermined British workers. We've imported cheap wages. Wages have been stagnant since 2008. We haven't invested in skills and technology.
And our own domestic workforce, who voted in 2016 to say, we want the jobs, train us, invest in us, they've been so deeply betrayed. 900,000 young people between 18 and 24 now are not in employment, not in training or education. That is a cruel, that's such a horrific wound to inflict on the young in this country, while they open borders to people who would be happier on lower wages, who won't expect the same living conditions, and then throwing all these young people onto the scrap heap. And Brexit was supposed to be that huge fuel under the domestic workforce, and they utterly betrayed us.
Well, they let in they let in the Boris wave to millions and millions of people.
But we've got a Prime Minister, a Chancellor and a Mayor of London that wants even closer ties with the EU.
I know, it's mad. They basically want to reverse the democratic vote. They are, Nigel, I think, said it, they are the most undemocratic government I've seen. Like Belinda said, it was one of the biggest democratic elections we've had. People voted to leave, and somehow the establishment doesn't agree with it, and so they're inching more and more towards a rapprochement to the EU, when that's not what we voted for.
I think Westminster's fallen out of love with democracy and with national applause. They don't look to the nation anymore to be applauded. They look to the global liberal stage. That's where their eyes are at. That's where they are appreciated, and that's why Keir spends all his time lauding it about.
Remember, he said he prefers Davos to Parliament.
He prefers Davos to Parliament. There's no love for. In fact, no one is batting for Britain in the legacy parties at all. They bat for everyone else except the British people.
Nigel's the only one that's batting for Britain. And I think it's that key, that people want someone to bat for them at all costs. And they recognise that Nigel's been doing that, number one, for decades. He's got the receipts, and he's the only leader that's got the guts to do it.
Well, the Prime Minister might prefer Davos to Westminster. There's nowhere I would prefer more than being in this studio with you all day long. But sadly, I think we're going to have to let you go. A big thank you here to my studio guests, Layla and Belinda. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for giving up the time.
Thanks, Charlie.
I know you're about to go on the campaign.
I am going to rush to Barnet, Totteridge. See you soon.
But thank you again. That's very kind of you for giving up your afternoon. And in the next hour, I'll be joined by Reform UK board member and all-round Reform legend Gwaine Tola and Reform UK councillor Harrison Allman-Varty. You don't want to miss that. But now, in the build-up to the 7th elections, Reform UK's leader Nigel Farage has been touring the country, meeting campaigners and candidates alike. One stop on the tour was Worthing in West Sussex. Let's take a look what happened there.
Don't jump into the unknown, which means don't vote Green, because they're mad. Are you going to vote for us next week?
Yes. Oh, Hi, Nigel. How's it going, mate?
Hello, how you doing? All right.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Hello, how you doing? All right. You are going to vote for us?
Vote for you.
He's going to vote for us. How about that?
1,000,000%.
1,000,000%. Well, here we are in Worthing with the Worthing gang, campaigning hard and enthusiastically, and what better could it be? On the pier, a proper English seaside scene, and we're running to the line.
Brilliant stuff there. Now let's cross live to Essex again, where we have the Reform legend. I can tell you, I've known him for a long time. He's always out on the doorstep. He doesn't stop campaigning, particularly in Essex, but he's all over the country. It is, of course, you'll recognise him, Jamie McIver. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Charlie. How are you doing? You've done a great job in there today.
Thank you very much, but not as good as job as you and your activists there that are taking to the streets, going to be knocking on lots of doors. Tell us, what's the message been like so far in Essex? What are you expecting from the doorstep later on today? And what have you got planned?
Yeah, it's been a really busy day here in Essex, and I'm joined by an amazing elite team of canvassers, and actually they're so elite because they're Reform UK councillors from all different parts of the country. And what's really interesting is we're going into these elections this year, unlike last year, with a record in local government, and a really great record, a record to be proud of. I mean, Stephen, leader of Lancashire County Council, is with me. The feedback has been amazing on the doorstep, and we're actually able to sell our story, aren't we?
We've got a good story. You know, we came into government with many challenges, and we delivered the lowest council tax of any political party, even with those challenges. So people appreciate the change we're bringing. They love the enthusiasm. I mean, this is like a family as Reform. It's amazing. It's not like any other political party. And people are up for the change that's coming.
That's absolutely right. And of course, Charlie, we're in a very unique position here in Essex because we've got our incredible party leader as an Essex MP who has been touring the country and the county of Essex. And people are noticing that there's only one party leader out there actually meeting people and talking to people. And that, of course, is our amazing leader, Nigel Farage.
Well, you're absolutely right, Jamie. When you said, look, you know, elections last year, particularly for Essex, were cancelled, you campaigned tirelessly, I know, to get them back on. But you are obviously campaigning up and down the country. You've got Stephen there with you that's travelled all the way from Lancashire to join you in Essex. Why is it so fundamentally important in Essex that you get that vote out, that you have those conversations on the doorstep? What is the message to the people of Essex today? Why should they vote for Reform UK on the 7th of May?
Well, I think message number one, as you pointed out, the people of Essex only have a vote because of Reform UK. In fact, over 4 million people have a right to vote thanks to Reform UK taking that brave legal action. This cowardly government, supported by the cowardly Conservative parties locally, tried to cancel these people's votes. And I think we need to send a strong message to the government to get rid of Keir Starmer by making sure everyone votes Reform. But more importantly, this is about democracy. People need to send a message to the establishment who have destroyed this country, and that message must be, do not mess about with my fundamental rights, do not take the mick out of the British people and cancel elections. And I think really people have realised that the Conservative Party in particular now is a wasted vote, and rightly so, because they have destroyed local government. Councils across the country are broken, and the Reform councils that we inherited from the Conservative Party are fixing the mess that the Conservatives left, whether that's financial mess, the state of our roads. And so the message to the people of Essex is you have to vote for change, because otherwise we will be stuck with the same old rubbish from the Conservative Party. So I want people in Essex to send a message to the establishment locally and nationally that we are not going to tolerate this sort of nonsense anymore. Do not mess about with democracy. Do not continue to wreck our councils. And of course, Reform UK is the only party that is going to challenge the government on the awful breakup of our historic counties. Here in Essex, the county could be broken into 5, and only Nigel Farage is the only party leader that is standing up for historic counties. So Essex boys like me can continue to have an Essex to be proud of once Reform UK are able to stop this awful local government reorganisation.
I mean, how seismic would it be if Reform UK won in Essex and took control of the council? Because this is the county in the backyard of not only the shadow Conservative Shadow Community Secretary, James Cleverly. You've got the leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch in Essex, and Shadow Foreign Secretary Priti Patel in Witham. All three big hitters in the Conservative Party. They are Essex-based. They've been there for some time. How seismic would it be if Reform UK and basically took over the council in their backyard?
Well, of course, it'll be huge if we do that. But I have to correct you, Charlie. Nobody in Essex realises these people are local MPs. They're never in their constituencies. One thing I've heard across Essex is people didn't even realise that they had a former Home Secretary as their Member of Parliament. They didn't even realise the leader of the Conservative Party was their Member of Parliament. These people are not Members of Parliament that are in their community like Nigel Farage, meeting business people, supporting the local enterprise, supporting local organisations. These are Members of Parliament that are stuck in the Westminster bubble. They don't come to Essex. They're not interested in the people of Essex. So I have to correct you on that point, but it would be seismic because the Conservative Party here in Essex has taken the vote of Essex people for granted for years and years. And what have they delivered? They delivered a broken economy, broken borders, broken councils. They've delivered broken business environment. Essex is the home of entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. Everywhere you go, you'll hear of grafting. Alarm Clock Britain, it was built here in Essex. And those people have been failed by the Conservative Party, who promised them to control the borders, who promised them they'd make this country a place for the economy to grow, who promised they'd deliver a proper Brexit and failed. So actually, I think the people of Essex, who are full of common sense and are full of savvy, may I say, they can see right through those politicians, those hopeless politicians who are only interested in champagne receptions on the terrace of the House of Commons. They don't care about the people out here in the real world. And we've seen across the country. And that is why I think there's going to be a huge shock on May 7th when we get the results in on May the 8th, when all of those people are caught with their trousers down, not realising that the people and the herd have moved.
Jamie, one final question before you go, because I know you're desperate to get out on the doorstep there, and I know the activists behind you are very keen to as well. What is the message? You know, you are local government through and through. You know, what is the message that you're taking to the doorstep today? Why should people, send us out on a high before you hit the doors, why should people vote Reform on the 7th of May in Essex?
They've got to vote Reform to get rid of Keir Starmer, the worst Prime Minister in the world. They've got to vote Reform to sack the Conservative Party from Essex County Council so our roads get fixed and so our council has proper leadership and finally gets fixed. But most importantly, they've got to vote for their children and their grandchildren's future. If Reform have a successful night on May the 7th, it's going to make it even more likely that Nigel Farage becomes our Prime Minister, which is what the country needs. So a vote for Reform on May the 7th is a vote for your children and grandchildren. A vote for anybody else is more of the same decline, more broken rubbish and never moving forward. Britain is the best country in the world. This country is incredible. We can get it back to some glorious days. We need to restore this country back to its greatness, and we can do that when Nigel Farage is Prime Minister. This is a huge stepping stone. So the message I've got for everybody, think of your children, think of your grandchildren, and vote Reform on May the 7th to save our beautiful country.
Jamie, thank you so much, and thank you to the team behind you. Go out now, go and knock on those doors, have those conversations, get those voter IDs up, and you could appear. I want to see you appearing on my leaderboard a little later on, because I know you'll do a great job. Thanks so much, Jamie, and we'll make touch in with you a little bit later. Here's the board. Pontefract Castle still in the lead there, followed by Tameside, Blackpool, I should say, and Fleetwood in third place. Barnet has rocketed, I think, up 2 places. It was in 6th when we first started. It's now gone up to 4th. Layla Cullen will be very happy with that. Followed by Greenwich. 2 London boroughs there, out and about. So there's a lot of activists in the capital today. Hartlepool in 6th, and Lincoln and so on and so on. But Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham still in the lead, still on course to win that massive £5,000 prize. And let's see how that progresses throughout the rest of the day. Exciting stuff. But even more exciting than that, we're going to cross now live again to the Midlands, where we still have Reform UK's Deputy Leader Richard Tice, and he is with the fantastic Leader of Warwickshire County Council, George Finch. Hello, George. What's the update? How's it going where you are?
Hello. Hello, it's absolutely phenomenal. Me, Richard and all the volunteers have been knocking on doors, speaking to residents. It's reform, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible. And the generosity of people. I've got a new bracelet, Charlie. Look at that. that actually been made specially for us, which is fantastic. But also, there's been a new concern on the doorstep. Yes. Did you know, Charlie? Well, you wouldn't, but actually Layla and Belinda in the studio, they will know all about tumble dryer gate. This is the new big scandal across the whole of the UK. Mad Red Ed Miliband wants to get rid of our tumble dryers. So we've got a new campaign, folks. Save our glorious tumble dryer. I mean, can you believe, who wants a heat pump tumble dryer, for God's sake? None of us.
No one.
No, we want a good old-fashioned condenser tumble dryer.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've been telling the people of Bulkington, haven't we?
Right, and absolutely. And, you know, people are fuming about this.
Oh, they are.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've got some news. These dodgy new heat pump tumble dryers, they cost twice as much. They only last about a year. Some bloke on the radio this morning was saying he has to repair more of those than anything else. And you know, they take like 3 times as long to dry the clothes. It's a complete con, like the whole of Net Stupid Zero. We love our tumble dryer. Everyone else love their tumble dryers. Yay!
Well, you've heard it there, Charlie. In Warwickshire, we love a tumble dryer. But after these people get elected, we will become councillors in the Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council. We're going to win as many seats, and we're going to speak to a councillor in Stratford first on what it's like being a councillor, and you know what it's like knocking on doors, speaking to residents, because that's what's the most important.
Thanks, George. And I should say I absolutely love my tumble dryer, and I don't want it taken away. So I'm Ashley Jones. I'm a councillor in Stratford-on-Avon. I was elected in a by-election in November last year. It was a landslide of 3 votes, and you know, helped by James Crocker, our branch chair, and all of our volunteers. Precisely, every single vote mattered. I think knocking on doors, the use of the Reform Go app, getting every single person out there for as long a day as possible and just cracking on was so important, and that's what made the difference. James and I have been talking about this new sort of phobia we've discussed, where toward the end of the day, when we're thinking about knocking off, there's that one extra house that you think, should I do it or am I ready to go home? And you must always do it, because otherwise, you know, those 3 votes might not materialise. So,
exactly. Yeah. Knocking on doors, speaking to residents. But, you know, when you become a councillor, there's even bigger prizes you can get. You can be in cabinet, on committees, or even, as James Crocker is the incoming deputy leader of Warwickshire County Council, what it's like working with us on Warwickshire County Council.
There could be no higher prize than being deputy to George French, which I've...
Some job he's got, actually. It might be the toughest in the country.
Technically, I think it comes into place on the 14th of March. The 14th of May at the county level. But yes, but I'm very much looking forward to the challenge and the task ahead. But we've got a lot. You know, joking aside, we've still got an enormous amount of work to do in Warwickshire, and every day we're finding new areas where we can make progress, save money, and deliver for the people of Warwickshire.
Exactly, and that's what it's like. Exactly. And across the West Midlands, people are crying out for the same, and that's why they are voting Reform UK on May 7th. The people of West Midlands, Birmingham, Coventry, Sandwell, Solihull, there's so many areas.
Absolutely incredible. And, you know, the enthusiasm is amazing. It's even greater than last year, despite all the nonsense spouted by the press, our good friends in the press. Actually, voters, they want more reform, not less reform. That's going to be the big story, and we've just got to make sure on the day, folks, everybody listening and watching, don't be complacent, get out the vote. Every vote matters.
Exactly, and that's why when you speak to residents knocking on doors, like I said earlier, like we've done in Bulkington today, you have to write down, learn what they're telling you, listen, and take that on board when you get elected. The Conservatives have taken the people of Bulkington and Nuneaton and Bedworth, and quite frankly, Greater West Midlands areas for granted. Labour have broken this country. The Conservatives will leave it to rot. So what's the only thing we can do?
Well, the thing is, vote reform, get Starmer out. That is the answer. Yes,
that's it. Wonderful. So what's going on across the country, Charlie?
Well, just like you, George, there are people gathering to go and knock on doors, have those conversations. These elections are one conversation at a time, and I haven't actually seen as many as enthusiastic volunteers as the ones that you've been able to encourage out today. You're all looking fantastic, ready to hit the streets. We'll leave you to it. Good luck. We'll join you a bit later on, but thank you so much for your time. Take them with you, go and knock on those doors, have those conversations, and you could appear on my leaderboard later on with the amount of doors that you've knocked on, or will be knocking on, I'm sure. But if you haven't already done it, please download the Reform Go app. It's a fantastic place to keep up to date with everything going on at Reform. It includes all the latest events and information about how to join and to keep up to date with everything going on, not just across the country, but also in your borough or county. Just search Reform Go in the App Store now. Now, another measure in Reform UK's manifesto is set to protect your pension. Shadow Chancellor Robert Jenrick held a press conference to explain how Reform UK would stop Labour's taxes on the older generation. Let's take a watch.
Labour will chip away at your pension. Reform will protect it. Nigel Farage will protect Britain's pensions. Credibly commit to keep the triple lock. We are the only party with the backbone to cut the tens and tens of billions of waste every year. Under Reform and Nigel Farage, your pension will always rise each year, with either inflation, average earnings, or by 2.5%, whichever of those three figures is the highest. We can only make the commitment today because we will cut tens and tens of billions of pounds of taxpayers' money the government wastes every year. The scale of all this waste is actually hard to conceive. Millions of pensioners, and in fact people in their late 50s and early 60s, are genuinely worried at the moment. They've paid in for 30 or 40 years, but they look at the debt that successive governments have racked up. They look at Labour borrowing left, right and centre, just like the Conservatives did, and they know, they fear, something's got to give. They fear this government, maybe soon led by Angela Rayner or Ed Miliband, backed up by Zach Polanski, will pull the rug from under them, will erode, chip away at the pension that they've worked and paid into for their whole life. And they're right to be worried. Well, under Reform, it will be different. We will protect pensioners. We've already identified over 40 billion of savings a year. We'll end universal credit for foreign nationals. We'll cut foreign aid. We'll stop spurious mental health claims for PIP. We'll scrap the net zero schemes. We'll cut Whitehall excess because we're the only party that won't duck the most difficult decisions. We will reset government spending so that it actually puts the British people first. So yes, we will balance the books, but we won't do it on the backs of British people who've paid in their whole lives. Instead, we'll save tens of billions by resetting government spending. Politics is about choices, and we in Reform choose the British people, and we will every time.
Well, welcome back to Reform UK's 2026 National Canvassing Day. I'm Charlie Rowley and we're live from the top of Millbank Tower here at Reform HQ. This afternoon, we're out and about around the country. And here in the studio, we now have my lovely new panel of Gwaine Tola and Harrison Allman-Farty. Hello both. Thanks for joining me.
Good afternoon, good afternoon.
Looking forward to this afternoon?
Naturally. Absolutely, yeah. The energy is that certainly out there?
It's high. Well, we've only on our second hour, and the first hour we've seen so many people across the country. I know the second hour isn't going to disappoint. And talking about these people across the country, we can have a look at my live leaderboard. This is monitoring how many doors each branch has been knocking on. Now, we had Pontefract, Castleford, Nottingley. They have been in the lead throughout most of the day. They've knocked on 2,662 doors there. Second place, Tameside, 2,287 doors knocked on. Blackpool and Fleetwood In third place, 1,745 doors knocked on, and then we've got Barnet in fourth, Greenwich in fifth, Hartlepool in sixth. But altogether, collectively, throughout the course of the day, a whopping 84,619 doors have already been knocked on. That's phenomenal work. 53,548 voter intentions collected. You've got 246 branches, active branches, right across the country, knocking on doors, taking the message of Reform UK to local residents as to why they should vote for Reform UK on the 7th of May. This is fantastic stuff, because remember, the winner who knocks on the most door, the branch that knocks on the most door, can win a whopping £5,000 cash prize. That's currently Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham. In second place, Tameside, you pick up £2,500, and in third place, currently, by Blackpool and Fleetwood, that's £1,000. That's a lot of money.
It is. Wasn't the last canvassing day Blackpool were first, second and third?
I think they were. They're
going to be deeply disappointed with that.
Well,
so come on, Abby.
More of a reason.
Come on, Abby, get your people together.
Vote, isn't it? To get a knock on those doors. That could all change, though, folks, depending on how many activists you can motivate to get out and knock on those doors, have those conversations, and as I say, coming top, you could win a whopping £5,000, which would go a very long way to your local association or campaign cause. So we'll check in with this table as the hour goes on, but brilliant stuff so far. 84,000 doors knocked on. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Really extraordinary.
Yeah. And that's just Layla Callaghan. Brilliant stuff. OK, we'll turn to that board a little bit later on, because I think we can go live now to the Midlands once again, where we have the brilliant host of Reform UK's podcast, Ray Addison. There he is. I can see him there. Hello, Ray. Still joined by Robert Jenrick. How's it all going?
Yeah, going really well. Rob's been really busy. He joined all of the volunteers. He's just been knocking on some doors and speaking to local residents. What kind of things have you been hearing from people, Rob?
Well, very positive reaction. In fact, everyone we've spoken to is either definitely voting for us, the family behind me are coming back early from their holiday just to vote Reform, or people are undecided and are thinking, well, the traditional parties that have dominated Birmingham for years have let the city down. It's been so badly managed. Maybe it's time for change. Just on this street, a very nice residential street, we've heard that some houses are being taken over as HMOs. You've got Eastern European migrants moving in, so you've got, a dozen men living in a house next door to families like this. And understandably, that spooks people. Why is that happening on their street? You buy your dream home and then you find that there's an HMO suddenly next door. Crime. That people are having cars nicked, vans broken into, tools stolen, and the bin strike, obviously here in Birmingham, has come up time and again, that people have had rats. They're just shocked by the incompetence of the council and its failure to fix this for years and years and years.
That's it. You find yourself a nice place to build a family, and the next thing you know, there's antisocial behaviour, there's litter in the streets and rats at the bottom of your garden. It's an absolute nightmare. Let me just bring in Rachel again. Rachel, if you don't mind just coming over here. Obviously, you've been doing a lot of canvassing around these areas. This is your local area. What are you seeing from the other parties, from Labour, from the Conservatives? Are they out and about? Are they hopeful?
Absolutely not out and about. So the conversations I'm having time and time again is that I'm the only person that's actually knocked on their doors, having conversations with them on the doors, asking them about local issues. I've seen a few leaflets hanging around. I think there was the Independent Workers' Party, but I'm just trying to explain to people that a vote for them is a wasted vote. We need people that are actually going to get in and make real changes to the local area.
One of the things that I've been hearing from activists all around the country actually is just examples of misinformation, stories about NHS funding, building on green belts, all this kind of stuff. Have you seen any of that kind of thing around here?
So I was at a local hustings event not long ago, and Labour spoke about how they'd all of a sudden got a solution for the local bin strikes. Coincidentally, days before the election, knowing full well that there is no solution. They're just saying they're making false promises, as they always have done, and as they will always continue to do so.
Yeah, I heard that on the news actually. It was very much delivered as though there was a solution, there was a deal in place for this bin strike, but we can't actually sign the thing, and so we're going to see what happens when whoever comes in and takes control of the council here after these elections. Talk to me about success. What does success look for you like in this area?
So just getting in, being able to have eyes on in that council, seeing where our money's being spent, because as a local resident, I can't see any evidence of it being spent on these local streets. So that's what I would like to do. I'd like to see exactly where the money's going.
Rob's been talking to people, he told us, who are angry about certain things such as the bins, the antisocial behaviour that they've seen in their homes here that they're trying to build. What about apathy, though? A lot of people are so disappointed with what they've seen from successive council groups over the years, and at national level as well, of course, from the Tories and the Labour Party. That people are very apathetic, especially I find older people who've voted year in, year out, and they just feel they've just been repeatedly lied to.
Absolutely, and I think it's really sad because you're actually getting people now that are saying, what's the point in voting, and that they won't vote, and that's quite sad, that is, to think that their vote's going to go wasted because they've been let down, year after year, time and time again.
And one big issue here, I understand, is that of HMOs. So a lot of what would be lovely family homes in a lovely neighbourhood are getting filled up with people from all kinds of different backgrounds, and it just changes the feeling of security and safety that people have in their neighbourhood. It changes how they feel about raising a family here, and it also changes how they feel about just the street that they live on and the people that they call their neighbours.
Absolutely. I'm a mum of four. I worry about the streets that my children are growing up in. Gone are the days where you could let your kids playing out on the streets and knowing that they're safe, playing on their bikes. It just doesn't feel safe anymore, and it's sad, isn't it, that that's the country we're living in now.
Just a quick final word from you, Rob. How does this all resonate with you when you hear what Rachel's telling you there about the things that she's hearing on the doorsteps, and of course what you've been hearing this afternoon as well?
Well, it's a similar story across the country, isn't it? It goes to the basic message that Reform has. We're the only party that accepts that Britain is broken. You had Keir Starmer saying it wasn't, Kemi Badenoch saying it wasn't. We understand that most people in the country feel it's a mess at the moment. Their bills are going up, their wages are stagnating, they see the small boats crisis continuing, immigration out of control, waiting lists on the NHS, town and city centres being hollowed out. They want change, and that is what Reform offers. If we can get into more councils like Birmingham City Council, we can bring that about, cut waste, bring people's bills down, deliver better public services, and then use that as a springboard to do exactly the same if we can get control after a general election and actually turn this country around, start putting it on a path to success.
And I think I've got time, just quickly, if I have just got time, to ask you about the slogan, Vote Reform, Get Starmer Out. I've seen people online being quite critical of that slogan and saying, well, this is a local election. There's no, the result won't mean that we get rid of the current Prime Minister. However, pressure like this, like a huge swing away from Labour in areas like this, which have had Labour in control since 2012, that is serious political pressure, and it can have a huge impact on the current Prime Minister.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if you read the newspapers this weekend, it's full of all of these plots from Angela Rayner and West Streeting and Andy Burnham to take over, and they're all saying that if the election results on the 7th of May are absolutely terrible for Labour, then they'll move against Starmer and we'll all get rid of him. And so the best thing that people can do who are sick to the back teeth of Keir Starmer is to vote for Reform on May the 7th. Then we'll get rid of him and we can begin to move on. But what we all really want is a general election, isn't it? We want to get rid of Labour altogether, but that's going to be a bit further off. But use this vote not only to get a better councillor and a better council where you live, but to get rid of Keir Starmer.
I heard somebody in the studio just finally saying that May 7th was going to be a day of reckoning, and I love that passion and that commitment. It remains to be seen exactly what will be happening, but I think May 8th is going to be a very interesting day.
All right, thank you so much, Ray, and to Rob there. Ray, whilst we have you, just one very quick question about the podcast that you're hosting. Episode 5 dropped last night. Who did you have on this week?
Well, we had Dan Thomas, who's the leader of Reform UK Wales, and he toured around Wales from the north to the south with Nigel Farage. We met shopkeepers, small business owners, and just people in the street, old and young, coming up to him, both of them, and saying, they want real change. That's the story that you can hear in episode 5 of the podcast Reform Needs Wales. It's on all fantastic apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Global Player, and YouTube as well.
Brilliant stuff, Ray. You've promoted and plugged that fantastically well. Thank you. We'll be joining you hopefully a little bit later on. Wales, fantastic stuff actually, because for the first time I think I saw Reform polling ahead of Wales, Plaid Cymru in Wales. So great stuff there. Let's see how that continues. But if a podcast isn't enough, you can also download the Reform Go app, where I've just been told there are over 86,000 users on this app. That's absolutely phenomenal, I think, because this is the place to keep up to date with everything going on at Reform, including upcoming events and information how to join, get your family involved, and keep up to date with everything that's going on right across the country, but also in your borough and your county. To get that, just search Reform Go in the App Store now. Now, from two great men, Rob and Ray, to two even greater men. I'm now delighted to be joined in the studio by Graham Toller, Reform UK board member and all-round Reform legend, and of course Councillor Harrison Allman-Varty. Thank you so much for joining me
thank you.
This afternoon. Rob and Ray were just talking about obviously canvassing and how important these local elections are. Graham, you have been canvassing once or twice, I'm sure.
Just a few times over the last 30 years.
This is Reform UK's third National Canvassing Day. Just tell us from your point of view, having been a seasoned campaigner, why is it so important to get people out on the doorstep?
Well, it's vital because it's the only way you can communicate with people. Most people, let's be honest, most people aren't political anoraks. They aren't watching every piece of news. They're not following their Twitter religiously to see what's happening in the news. They're looking at other fun stuff. They're living a life. So to be able to engage with people in their lives and show that you care, then you need to speak to them direct. I'll give you an example. I was in Wakefield with the branch up there on Monday, and due to the fact that my car broke down, I ended up in Brownhills in the West Midlands. And in fact, because it wasn't fixed, I spent the night in Walsall for my pleasure and joy. But I phoned up the local branch, did a couple of streets, three streets with them that evening. And in all my years campaigning, I know all politicians say this, it's brilliant on the doorstep. And you go, people didn't spit at me, that's great. But in all my years, I've never had such a positive impact. And the response, it wasn't just, yes, we're going to vote for you. It was impatient. When are you getting in? It wasn't just, yes, it was when. And I've never witnessed that in literally during the referendum campaign, in Hartlepool, and places like this. It was truly, I suspect we're going to do quite well in Walsall.
Well, I wanted to ask you that before bringing Harrison in, because as I say, you've been around a long time and you've seen various campaigns, various situations. What is it about Reform, though, that has been able to strike that chord with the British public? Why have Reform leading in the 275 opinion polls, consecutive opinion polls?
Think
what has been the change throughout your time as a campaigner and political activist?
Back in the day, when it was when UKIP days, then we had a task, and it was to get a referendum. Brexit Party was purely about making sure that Brexit actually happened. This is a real political party. And we are growing as a political party with a vision, with an idea, knowing what it stands for at a time when you've got the two legacy parties don't know what they stand for, have fallen apart. So partially it's our fault, and to our credit and Nigel's credit and the rest of the party, but it's also, we'd be lying to ourselves if we're not lucky in our enemies. And we are lucky in our enemies because they're rubbish. But I don't know if you've seen how Keir Starmer, the only way he defends himself is, I won a massive majority. Yes, you did, but mate, it wasn't you. It's because everybody hated the Tories. And we should not make the mistake that we're only doing well because of our own benefit. We have to accept that it's partly because they're rubbish.
But you're also attracting new people to the party, particularly
all the time.
Young people to the party, dare I say. People like Harrison here, who was one of the first Conservative councillors to defect, I think, to Reform. You were unveiled, I think, was it January last year?
25, in Sandown. I mean, I think I was the 60-odd kind of elected person there. I mean, to be honest, when you're talking about canvassing, I mean, it's so important for two reasons. First of all, data, obviously, being able to identify where our voters are. But second of all, there is nothing that you can beat with a conversation on the doorstep. And I think, obviously, what the three main established parties have is data, right? But I actually think that's to their disadvantage. And the reason why I say that is, you knock a lot of the streets and you go, oh my God, you're the first person to knock on my door in years. And the reason why that is they know where their voters are, so they don't bother knocking on certain areas. So even though we've started from zero on data, it's actually forced us to knock on the doors of people
Up to a point.
Haven't spoken to anyone.
They know where their voters used to be.
Yeah.
But given so many of their voters are voting for us, they may get a rude awakening because they haven't maintained that data protection. But I agree with you. Data is very important for us. But for them, it's the conversations. Because unless you know what bothers them, you can't act on their behalf at town hall and things of this sort. And so therefore, that conversation is vital because you learn, we learn from them.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of our voters, you know, might have given up years ago. You know, they might feel, you know, that's what we talk about. Every seat is within reach. When you think about 40% turnout rates, you know, that's 60% of the people who think no one here represents me. That is our voter base, and we can very much relate to that. And it's talking to them and making sure that
and
we're
it's our responsibility to try and get as many of those people re-engaged in the political process.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the only way you can do that, you're absolutely right, and is by having those conversations. But to have those conversations, you've got to have volunteers and councillors and candidates to go out and do that. So, I mean, my question to you, Harrison, really is, and I sort of asked you this earlier on, you know, you're 22. You could be doing anything else. You could be travelling, you could be in a band, you could do whatever.
I certainly didn't do it for the pickup line.
Do whatever you like. So why did you feel, you know, at 22, you know, and it's not patronising, you know, you are a young person, to really be the first, because you were the first councillor to defect on your council. You were the only reform
in
councillor.
Surrey. I mean, that is,
it could be a lonely world. So why did you,
foolish.
But why did you make that move? And why should, what's the message that you would send to other people watching and other young people that are really disengaged from the process, of the political process, because of the previous two-party system? Why should people get...
There's an option. I mean, people feel like there's an actual option now. Lots of people voted Conservative because they saw them as the least worst option, okay? Not out of love. We saw in the general election, Labour won because no one voted Conservative, okay? So it's a case of when we're looking at... I mean, when I moved over and I was the first councillor in Surrey to come across. I mean, Surrey, especially in January 2025, was not reform territory. And now we are seeing that even Lib Dem voters, I mean, seriously, coming across. And the reason why is they only voted Lib Dem because they thought, I didn't want to keep rewarding fairly with the Conservatives. And the point is, no one's actually had an option to get excited about. And it's exactly what Gawain was saying. You're actually not meeting people going, yeah, I suppose I'll vote for you. It's, oh my God, you've knocked on my door. We've been waiting for you. Absolutely, we'll be there. And we're going to get, you know, my sister out and all this sort of stuff. It's a real enthusiasm and excitement out there. And that's what we're tapping into.
Well, I think you're both absolutely right, and you know, you talk about the election in Surrey and everywhere where you've been great, but it's not just elections in England. It's obviously happening in Scotland and Wales, and that's why we had the great Dan Thomas on the podcast in Wales and talking about all the success there. So
in Cardiff tomorrow,
and you'll be in Cardiff tomorrow. Fantastic. Well, great stuff. Well, from Cardiff and everywhere else that we've been across the country, we can now, I'm delighted to say, go live to the MP for Runcorn and Helsby, Sarah Pochin. She's in her constituency. She joins me now down the line with a whole host of activists there waving their placards. Good afternoon, Sarah. How's it going where you are today?
Good afternoon. It's absolutely fabulous. We're having such a good day and the weather's been so kind to us up here in Runcorn. So we've had a great day. We've been knocking on doors, listening to people, and they are so desperate for change. This is an area which has been taken for granted by Labour forever. It's only ever been Labour in this area until, of course, Reform won that famous by-election a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. But up until then, Labour councillors in this area have so taken the voters for granted. And people have just had enough now. They are desperate for change, desperate for councillors that actually do something. I hear so many on the door that just say, you know what, they're councillors, they feel that they don't know who they are, they feel that they've done nothing for them. And if I can just tell you a bit about Halton Borough Council itself, it's £250 million in debt. It's spending £500,000 a year on translation services. It's housing 600 illegal asylum seekers whilst we have 3,800 locals on the housing list. People are utterly fed up, not to mention businesses. I had a small business breakfast yesterday in Runcorn. So many businesses with stories of how Halton Borough Council just will not support them, will not put business first. So there is so much work to do here to repair the damage that this Labour Council has done.
I know the area very well, Sarah, but we'll have a conversation about that another time. I know Runcorn, I know Halton Borough Council there. But your election there, if I can just take you to your by-election, was a seismic moment, I thought, in British politics, because it was a victory that only came about by a handful of votes by the end of it. Those votes might have only just been possible because of the number of campaigners and activists that you had knocking on doors, having those conversations to tell people in your particular patch that actually the system is broken, Britain is broken, it needs to be fixed, but we need a new kind of politics. And you were the candidate for that. You've got a whole array of candidates and activists I can see behind you. What is the message that you can send across the country today as to why it is so vitally important to get involved and to get knocking on those doors?
The first thing I'd say to everybody, not just here in the Northwest, but up and down the country, is that every single vote counts. I am living proof of that. As you say, it was a historic win. We won by 6 votes and 3 recounts it took to finally get us across the line. But listen, to everyone that helps us, supports us, goes out knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, yours could be the house that makes the difference to get your local candidate in. Every single door you knock on counts. I never tire of walking the streets. I was nearly said working the streets. That would have been not quite right at all. Sorry, everybody. I meant walking the streets and knocking on doors.
Not something we could broadcast between 4 and 6, I'm sure.
No, I'm terribly sorry. Listen, everybody knows that no one's ever sure what's going to come out of my mouth, but that was a slip up there. But no, on a serious note, every single vote counts.
Well, the one thing before you go, because
go on, sorry, I'll let you speak.
Of your mouth. The one thing coming out of your mouth that should be coming out of your mouth and everybody's mouth is the campaign message, the slogan, which is vote reform, get Starmer out. Is that something that you are finding when you knock on the doors, that is something that people are really getting behind?
Yeah, because these are local elections, of course. But everybody I speak to, I spent a couple of hours yesterday in our local spoons, our local Wetherspoons, and that's a classic window on the world of what your average person is thinking. And although these are local elections, people come up to me and say, we've got to get him out. And of course, everybody is talking about Starmer. He is the most unpopular Prime Minister I think we have ever had. And yes, people are almost thinking of this as almost a national, again, sending a message nationally to the government. They cannot stand Keir Starmer. He is utterly despised. I got in on what I would call a hardcore Labour vote. Their vote is absolutely falling apart in areas like this, areas full of good, hardworking people that feel so betrayed now by this Prime Minister. But not only that, nobody really knows what Keir Starmer stands for, other than, his sleaze and his association with paedophiles. And, people are utterly let down by this Prime Minister. They're embarrassed with him on an international stage. Thank goodness for the King going over to America and rescuing the situation. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about business tax here in Runcorn, housing waiting lists here in Runcorn, whatever it might be, or my farmers, my poor farmers in other areas of my constituency, whether it's local issues, there's a supporter. I didn't arrange that, I promise. But whether it's local issues or whether it's national or international issues, everybody is fed up with Starmer, and everybody understands to go out, vote on May the 7th and get Starmer out.
There we go. The message loud and clear, and I can see all your supporters there in the background, fully behind you and supporting of that message. Sarah, we'll let you go. Take to those streets, knock on those doors, have those conversations on the doorstep, and let that message go out far and wide. Sarah Poachin there, we love you here in the studio.
Let's do a big cheer, everybody.
You so much. Have a great day. Sarah Poachin there, fantastic stuff from Runcorn. But as she was saying, it's not only the local elections taking place in England, but also the Welsh and Scottish elections too. In the run-up to the Welsh Senate elections, Reform UK put together a party election broadcast. Let's give it a look.
We cannot allow the parties that broke Wales to to pretend that they are the solution. The proud nation of Wales deserves better. This is Pew's Lane. This stream is where I used to play with my brothers in all weathers. And my house was just at the top of this lane, about a 10-minute walk. And we'd get so carried away that we'd forget it was tea time. And I remember once my mother coming down the lane in her pinny, sort of calling us up, because we were just so engrossed in playing in the stream. I love the area. This is Wales. Countryside, woods, trees, streams. I had a really happy childhood, and that's what I want for my children. And seeing the boys playing in the stream, for me, it's like come full circle now. That's the kind of childhood I want for my sons. But I also want them to have more opportunities than I did. And that's what's motivating me to stand for the Senedd, is to make sure that in 15 years or so time, that my boys won't feel they have to move to London or to Bristol or across the bridge for opportunities. I think Wales has been on a managed decline over the last 27 years. There's no ambition amongst the politicians at Cardiff Bay. People have almost come to sort of accept, well, this is just the way things are in Wales. I don't believe that. I think we're being held back, and I think things can get better. For the last 27 years, Wales has been let down by Labour and Plaid Cymru. And after 27 years, we have the worst education results in the UK. We have the longest NHS waiting lists. We have the highest unemployment. Some of my closest friends are farmers, and I know how hard they work. They just want to produce food. There's the alarm clock generation who wake up early, work hard, yet still struggle to make ends meet. My ambition would be in 4 years' time that we turn the public sector services around, and that we have a sense of ambition and pride brought back to Wales, and that we say actually we can do better, and we will. And we won't accept the low standards of the political establishment down in Cardiff Bay. We will stand on a platform that puts the people of Wales first. Wales needs reform, but we cannot do it without you. And you will only get the change that you want by voting reform on May the 7th. Wales is broken and Wales needs reform. I'm Dan Thomas and I'm leader of Reform UK here in Wales.
Well, I'm delighted that we can now cross again live to the Midlands for the third and final time for the double act of the day. It's Reform UK's Deputy Leader Richard Tice and Leader of Warwickshire County Council, George Finch. George, give us an update. Where are you now? What's it been like on the doorstep?
Hello, you've probably had enough of seeing me. You've seen me 3 times now, but I think we've got a good update to tell you. We're now in Rugby in a little village called Brinklow with activists, volunteers, and they've been knocking on doors, speaking to residents. Absolutely phenomenal reception. And I know I'm going to say it myself, but I think we're the heart of Reform UK in Warwickshire, isn't that right?
Everywhere's the heart. It's quite extraordinary. All over the West Midlands, this is the heart of England. It's the heart of reform, and the response is incredible, George. Just remarkable. But we mustn't be complacent. Last few days, big push. Every single vote matters. Talking to Ashley just then earlier, he won by 3 votes. Literally, that could be the difference in so many of these wards.
Especially in Rugby, where you've got a Labour, Lib Dem coalition, a coalition of chaos running this council. And you know what? The Labour leader even tried to cancel these elections a few months ago, but there was one party that stood in the way of that and spoke up and fought against.
We did him in, we won that, and thankfully millions of people have got the right to vote thanks to that judicial review that we led, and eventually the Labour government, useless as they are, a bunch of socialists, they had to capitulate because they knew they'd got it wrong once again. Have they got anything right, George?
I don't think so, and we're seeing their voter base collapse, especially in the centre of Rugby, in the ward Ben, and in many others. It's just collapsing. And
I
Reform
haven't come across a single Labour voter today.
Especially in towns like Nuneaton and Bedworth, in Sandwell, Birmingham as well. Labour Party are finished. The Conservatives broke Britain, the Labour Party are leaving it to rot, and the only party that can fix this country is Reform UK.
And do you know the word that really is resonating? Starmageddon. I invented this word a couple of years ago, and we thought it would be bad. We didn't realise it would be this bad, but Starmageddon is the reason why people are now realising you've got to vote reform to get Starmer out so that we can get rid of Starmageddon.
Exactly, just one quick thing. something that's better and cuter than us two is the lovely dog over there. Have a look. He's even got a Reform shirt on. Look at that. Are you voting Reform? They're voting Reform. We've even got the dogs on side. He's having a lovely chew of the stick there. But that's what it's about, getting people involved and little dogs as well.
It's a family show.
Family, community, country. That's what it's about, and that's what Reform's about. And if we get more councillors elected across the country, that's the type of feeling, the policies that we will have across the country, isn't that right?
We'll save our tumble dryer. Remember that. Don't forget.
We want our tumble dryers back.
The tumble dryer is in safe hands with Reform UK and Deputy Leader Richard Tice, I can tell. Thanks so much, you two. You've been absolutely fantastic this afternoon. You've brought everybody together. You've got everybody out of the pub and onto the streets, including their pets, which is absolutely brilliant stuff. Indeed. Where are you going next, very quickly, after this?
I think that's it. Done.
We don't know. Who knows? They think they're done. Maybe they are done. Maybe they can go to the pub and have a nice drink, which is always nice on the back of a campaign session. We'll leave them to it. Thank you so much, you two. Great stuff indeed. But even greater I'm still joined by Greg Toller, Reform UK board member and Reform legend, and of course, Councillor Harrison Allman-Varty. Thank you again for joining me, gentlemen. What did you make of what Richard and George were just saying there? You know, the amount of policies that are coming through from this government, whether it's banning your tumble dryer, whether it's not getting control of our borders, whether it's seeing no growth in the country, whether crime is up. You know, people are fed up of Keir Starmer by the sounds of things, but it could be so much worse, couldn't it? You could have Angela Rayner, we could have Ed Miliband.
Absolutely, but you've got to say they have all these policies, but then of course they don't have all these policies. They've U-turned 16 times. So this is why we don't know what they're for, because even if when they tried to do something they failed, even when they tried to bring in some little bit of welfare reform, they couldn't do it because their own backbenchers were so left-wing, and so they are cut from each side. And of course now they've got the threat of the Greens on them. So we cannot, the reason we have to work so hard, the reason why we have to win, is because we cannot afford our country to be left in the hands of this shower, these charlatans, for any much longer. Because if we do, what is left of what we love so much?
Well, it is, as the message that I hear all the time from Reform UK is vote reform, get reform. Because if you don't, you end up in that kind of coalition that George was just talking about, which could be a coalition of chaos of the Greens, the Lib Dems in your particular patch.
Half the Conservative Party. I mean, honestly, I mean, one thing that there's really well highlighted was how thin the margins are. I mean, in our elections, it's either 5 votes, it's 10 votes, it's 15 votes, and that's just the case of you going, do you know what, should we do that street? Should we get that family out? You know, and it's a case of on polling day when you're going there and they're going, oh, well, and you have to tell them, look, it's going to be really, really close because it is a matter of single-digit votes. It'll be like that all over the country.
As you say, today is National Campaign Day. But on Thursday, it's get out the vote. And anybody who's spent time working today, that time will be paid in double if they work on Thursday. Because it doesn't matter how many people say they're going to vote for you.
It's getting them out.
They've actually got to go into the polling booths and put a cross in that box.
Oh, exactly. And, you know, Reform UK have been leading the last 275 consecutive polls, but the only poll that matters is...
we cannot afford to be complacent because
Exactly. And also to vote tactically, if we're going to talk voting tactically, don't bother voting Conservative. I mean, seriously, every time we see these by-elections, it's always Conservative in 3rd, 4th place now, when actually there's a lot of small C Conservatives still in that party who still think they're the best route out. But realistically, they're still... They're getting brainwashed by the Tory literature of the bar charts.
We need, once elected, to prove ourselves worthy of their votes. Because that is the way we get to win the general election.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the Conservatives have proved themselves pretty unworthy of their votes.
This is true.
And if you do go out on polling day, which I know you will, to get the vote out, if you decide to wear the same attire as that dog that you saw in that beautiful clip in the Midlands, you could be wearing these football shirts that are in front of you here. Do you want to hold these two up? No?
I would probably prefer to wear sackcloth and
well, they're selling very well. They're selling like hotcakes.
Maybe to people who like them.
love them. Lena and Belinda love them.
Can you imagine this?
I can't.
I haven't known a pair of trainers for 30 years. I don't
well dressed.
I don't do t-shirts. I don't suggest I've done sport.
No. It just means
Can you
put a
imagine?
jacket over it.
You're ridiculous. I don't do what.
Oh well, all right. It was worth a try, wasn't it? It's worth a try. Anyway, right. If you want to know more information about how to keep up to date with everything Reform, you can download the Reform Go app. And I'm told that over 86,000 people have already done so. 86,000 users. That's brilliant stuff. It's a fantastic place to keep up to date with everything going on at Reform, including all the upcoming events and information about how to join, how to get involved further, and keep up to date with everything going on across our great country, and also your local borough or county. Just search the word Reform Go in the App Store now. Next up, I'm delighted to say we cross live to GB News presenter and author Matt Goodwin, who is live for us in Bedford.
Hello.
Let's see him there. There he is. Brilliant. Hello, Matt.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what's it like on the ground where you are?
Here we are. Yeah, absolutely. We're down here in Bedford. We're having a great time. We're just getting ready for our evening fundraiser with all of the branches across Bedfordshire, and we're leading the People's Army down here.
Matt, it's a great turnout that you've got behind you there. As you say, canvassing during the day, you've got events on in the evening. How important is it to make sure that not only when you knock on doors and you find people that are sympathetic and want to vote for Reform UK, but you can get them involved, that they can become members of the party, that they can have all of these great events like you have this evening?
Well, absolutely. I remember Nigel Farage making the point himself, saying that Reform has to have a social element to it. It has to be about having fun. It has to be about relaxing, bringing people together, because you just don't really get that anymore in the old parties. And I've been going around the country really pretty continuously since the Gorton and Denton by-election, speaking at lots of branches, helping fundraising events, helping the canvass and campaign. And I just think there's enormous energy out there in the country. I think Nigel says it best himself, that something is happening out there and people can sense that Reform is not just a political party. I've always believed that Reform is a family of people who care passionately about the country, who care passionately about saving the country, who care passionately about turning the country around. And I think that's why so many people are giving up their time, their days, their evenings, away from family, away from work, away from friends, to help the party succeed.
And you talked about brilliantly there, just the feel and the mood of the country on the doorstep, but you going up and down the country, hearing that time and time again, people giving up their time to want to talk to you, to want to be part of the Reform UK movement. But why is it, I mean, it's an open question, that we've got to the situation where we are today, where Reform UK is so ahead in the polls, that has come from nowhere, essentially, to now be leading in what has been a two-party system for so long? What has been the key feedback, I suppose, that you've had from residents, from families, from communities, as to why Reform is doing so well, what Reform can offer that the two parties in the past haven't been able to deliver on?
Well, I can't speak for everybody here. I can give you my experience, which is I think many people sense that we're the last chance that this country really has. We're the last hope that this country really has. People out there are utterly fed up with mass uncontrolled immigration, utterly fed up with our broken borders. They want to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. They want to lower the tax burden, the historic high tax burden that's crippling small and medium and family-run businesses. They want to slash foreign aid, stop paying welfare to people who aren't British, look after our farmers and our pensioners, spend that money instead on frontline public services. They want to reassert free speech, free expression, crack down on Islamism, crack down on the Muslim Brotherhood, among other things. And that, I think basically people are realizing that if we don't win the next general election, this country is going to go down a very dark, a very ugly path. And we're the last chance. And that's what I hear all the time. In fact, I spoke to an 82-year-old lady in North London recently who was saying that if Reform doesn't win the next general election, she's just going to leave the country. She's going to leave her home. She says, she's at really a point of despair. And many people, I think, have that creeping sense that in some ways the next election isn't just about policy, it isn't just about politicians. I think for many people it's much deeper. It is that sense that something precious and unique is slipping away. And that's what's driving so many people into reform, and standing in 99.9% of all seats, by the way, at these local elections. I mean, what an incredible achievement. 99.9% of all seats. That's remarkable. Number one in the national opinion polls. I mean, that is what saving your country looks like. We're not out there obsessing with one local council. We're not out there dreaming about things that are never going to happen. You know, we are standing everywhere. We're giving people a credible, competent alternative to the broken status quo in Westminster.
Absolutely, no, that shows the strength of support that you have, where people actually not just want to come and campaign for you or become party members, they actually want to stand under a Reform UK banner. You're absolutely right. Final question then, Matt. You're going out on the doorstep. What is the message that you are taking to the people? Why should people vote Reform UK on the 7th of May?
Well, vote Reform UK, firstly, to send a message. Get rid of Keir Starmer, the worst Prime Minister in the history of this country, the most unpopular Prime Minister in the history of polling. We need to get rid of Keir Starmer. We need to get rid of this Labour government. We need to put the people in this country, the decent majority of hard-working, tax-paying, law-abiding people, the common sense majority, back in charge, back in control of the destiny of their own country. That's what we need to do. We need to work together, put the people in charge, and that's what we're going to do. If we win these local elections, and all the polls suggest something historic is going to happen on May the 7th, not to mention Wales and Scotland, this is a stepping stone. This is the crucial stepping stone to the next general election. And, you know, I was debating the future of the right a few days ago at the Spectator magazine debate with Danny Kruger MP, when readers of the Spectator magazine were asked who best represents the future of the right, the Tories or Reform. And what was remarkable is that the readers of the Spectator, the traditional centre-right magazine in British politics, ended up choosing Reform as the future of the right in British politics, because that's what you're also picking up on the doorstep. I think people can sense, as you just said yourself, if you vote Reform now, you get Reform, and that is a massive difference from what happened before. And I think it's an incredibly exciting time. It's an incredibly exciting time to be part of this movement. So if you're watching this and you're not a Reform Party member, get involved, join the party, stand for the party, because trust me, you're going to want to look back at this in the years and decades to come and say you played your part.
Matt, brilliantly put there. I know everybody, not just in the studio and everybody watching, but the people behind you, no less, support everything that you've just said. Go out there, keep campaigning, enjoy your event this evening.
Here we go.
And thank you so much for your time. Matt Goodwin there. There they are. Take care. All the best. Brilliant stuff there from Matt Goodwin there, out on the doorstep, with more campaigners, as we've seen right across the country. So great stuff. But now, in the build-up to May the 7th, Reform UK's leader, Nigel Farage, has been touring the country, meeting campaigners and candidates. One stop on the tour was Norfolk. Let's take a look.
How are you doing, sir? I'm doing all right. You look different on TV, you know that. You look more younger now.
Oh, thank you. We've been to King's Lynn, we're now in Downham Market with an enthusiastic local team, and I've got to tell you, the response on the street is phenomenal. It's week 8 of living on the road, and I'm loving every minute of it. The enthusiasm we've had in the town centres has been incredible. I really believe the big M, momentum, is now with us. I'm here with many other candidates, and you know what? I think we can do incredibly well in this county. We could even win a majority on the council, and whether it's here or Barnsley or wherever it is, there's one big message. We are becoming the main opposition party in British politics, and we're urging people on May the 7th to go out, to vote Reform and
get Starmer out!
Great stuff there from Norfolk. Now, let's have a look at my live leaderboard. This has been running throughout the course of the afternoon. This has been monitoring how many doors have been knocked on right across the country and the branches that are being most active. And first of all, I can't help but notice so far today an 89,440 record number of doors that have been knocked on throughout the course of the day. That's been going up all throughout the afternoon. 56,923 voter IDs collected, and still 246 active branches out on the road. But still in first place, as is led throughout the course of the day, Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham. You are on course, on track to win that £5,000 cash prize for your local area. Brilliant stuff there, knocking on 2,806 doors. Second place currently, Tameside, knocking on 2,551 doors. That's brilliant stuff. You've held second place for quite some time. And there is a bit of a gap between you and third place, but still in third place, Blackpool and Fleetwood, knocking on 1,846 doors throughout the course of this campaign. Barnet in fourth place, Greenwich in fifth, Hartlepool in sixth. All of that could change, and it will only take just shy of 100 more doors. If Barnet can get out there, I know Layla's gone to Barnet now, if she can encourage just 100 more doors to be knocked on, you will leapfrog into third place. Barnet could be in a shop with that £1,000 cash prize in third place, but Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham leading the charge, as they have for most of the day. Let's see if we can get this. I'm sure we will. We'll get this total doors knocked on over 90,000.
How about 100,000?
We'll get to 100,000. Let's get to 100,000 in the next 15 minutes.
Why not 100,000?
Why not? I think you're absolutely right. Keep knocking on those doors, folks. Keep having those conversations. Keep getting those voter IDs. And keep pushing for that £5,000 cash prize. I know you can do it. And I know one team of people that are looking to do that is the team that we have in the Midlands. That is your Shadow Chancellor, Robert Jenrick, with Reform UK's podcast host, Ray Addison. Hello, chaps. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Interesting times, I have to tell you. We were speaking in the last live about some of the antisocial behaviour that we've been experiencing around here. We've just witnessed some. Two groups of young people having a screaming match of each other from one side of the road to the other. Some adults involved in there as well. If you're an adult and you're arguing with a bunch of teenagers on a Saturday night and approaching 6 o'clock, you've got problems, I would suggest to you. I wanted to chat to one of our volunteers here because he ended up mediating a little bit. This is Anthony. He's actually, you won't be surprised to hear, he's a former soldier and he got involved a little bit. Antisocial behaviour, you can't talk about this because the police ended up getting called, so we won't go into any details, but antisocial behaviour like this, it's a bit of a problem around here.
It is, and I think it all stems from the lack of the resources and how that's been diminished over the years, especially by our Labour-controlled council on things like the provisions for children, youth centres, activities, things to occupy themselves in a productive way. So, yeah, they have all this time and nothing to do with it, and it doesn't just affect them and their futures. You look at the residents as well that have to deal with it sometimes on a daily basis. It affects them as well, and some of them are elderly. So it is concerning.
And you stepped up as a volunteer for Reform UK in this campaign, and you stepped in there as well. Probably speaks to the fact that you have a history of service for this country.
Yeah. Definitely. I just want what's best for the residents. Everybody puts a lot into the community but never seem to get rewarded by it, i.e. we can't even get the bins collected, we can't get the potholes mended. So yeah, if we can get the community back together, and I think what the community want is just transparency and honesty from the council instead of being misled, mistruths and things being told on a whim and a prayer, but nothing actually materialises.
Yeah, and they've been in charge since 2012, so they really can't escape the responsibility on this one, the Labour Council. Just quickly, a final word, obviously as a veteran yourself, how do you feel, maybe this is more of a national issue, but how do you feel about the treatment of British veterans at the moment? Obviously we know that they struggle with homelessness, often mental health issues as well as a result of their service. Should we be doing more?
Definitely, and I think once again it's a systemic failure of not just the Labour government but governments before that, because when you look at the statistics of homeless ex-armed forces people, then that hasn't just happened overnight. This has happened progressively over years. So yes, the government needs to step in and do a lot more for people that ultimately have served our country and made the ultimate sacrifice. If they had to, they would go and do it, and that's why they need to be looked after when they're no longer in the armed forces.
Anthony, thank you so much for your time and for your service. We really do appreciate it at Reform UK. Robert, just a very quick final word from you. I think we've got about 45 seconds or so. You've been on the ground here, you've been travelling all over the country, you've had a busy week leading up to this, and how's your week looking ahead over the next few days as well?
Well, last week, this week's just gone, I've been in Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, Romford, Dagenham, East and West Sussex, Hampshire, Newark, my constituency, here in Birmingham today. Next week's going to be exactly the same. everyone in Reform is going to absolutely go for it now for the remaining days until Thursday and until 10 p.m. on Thursday. We've got this incredible opportunity ahead of us to prove that Reform is now not just the official opposition of this country, but the only truly national political party that can win in Scotland and Wales, in England, in big cities like this, in the rural counties like Norfolk, everywhere. So get out there, campaign, knock on doors, talk to your friends and your neighbours, get out the vote, and then on May the 8th, I honestly, truly believe that we're going to see something so seismic when we wake up that morning, and that can be the springboard to winning the next general election.
Rob, it looks like it's going to potentially be an absolutely glorious day. Just want to say thank you to all of the volunteers here who've been taking part, canvassing out with Rob. They've been getting very active, spreading the word, not just today, of course, for TV purposes, but all throughout the last weeks and months as well. They really are making a huge difference, and we know it's happening all over Britain.
Rob, Ray, great stuff there on the ground, and best of luck to all your activists for what you're going on to do for the rest of the day. And great interview, by the way, with that veteran. It does absolutely make my blood boil, where we don't protect our veterans enough. People that put on that uniform that end up, as you say, sleeping rough, when we seemingly have lots of people come into the country and get put up in hotels and get all the accommodation and dentist trips and all their health bills paid for. It incenses us all. So thank you so much, Ray and Rob, and enjoy the rest of your day. Speaking of veterans, the end of February saw the start of the US-Iran war, and since then we've seen fuel prices rocket. The price of a litre of unleaded at the pumps rose from £1.37 in March to nearly £1.90 today. For diesel, in some garages it's now over £2. Reform UK's Shadow Chancellor, who you just saw there, Robert Jenrick, joined Nigel at an independent filling station in Derbyshire to launch Reform Refuel, where for the day, one petrol station knocked 25p off a litre. Here's a reminder of how that went.
Cheapest fuel in the country. Come on, roll up, roll up.
When we're here in Derbyshire to send a very strong message to Rachel Reeves, this is the worst possible moment to be hiking fuel duty. We're going to fight it every step of the way.
These taxes are put on by politicians who don't fill up their own cars or who ride bicycles in North London. A total lack of understanding, particularly for those that need their cars, their vans for work, from taxing the motorist, from taxing the commercial vehicle, through to being self-sufficient as much as we can in oil and gas. The idiotic policies started by the Conservatives and now being made even worse by Ed Miliband are hurting ordinary people.
This is just the beginning of the work that we're going to be doing in the weeks and months ahead. Reform is on your side, and a Reform government is going to bring down your bills.
Well, great stuff there, and congratulations if you're one of the lucky ones that had 25p knocked off your litre of fuel. Very good. And if you haven't already done it, speaking of good news, you can download the Reform Go app. This is the place where you can keep up to date with everything going on at Reform, including upcoming events, information how to join, and everything going on not just across the country, but also in your borough or county. Just search Reform Go in the App Store now and download it. It's a great place to go for all the information that you need. And speaking of information, all the information that we need, I'm still joined by Wayne Dola and Harrison Allman-Vardy. Very nice to see you both. Thank you for still sticking with me. Just going back to Birmingham where we saw Rob and Ray there, antisocial behaviour, alive and well in Birmingham, bins still not being collected, a council that's been in there, Labour council that's been in there since 2012, all the responsibility should be on that council. It's vital then, isn't it, to vote them out and get somebody else in?
Oh, I don't think they'll be in power after Thursday next. And it's whoever takes over, and it looks like it's going to be a coalition of some sort. We're certainly making big inroads. We may be the largest party, but whether we can take the whole city, I'm not sure. Let's be honest about these things. It's going to be an astonishing result anyhow. However, the inability of Labour to be able to do a deal with its own paymasters does seem to be quite odd, doesn't it? The union versus Labour stuff. It's as if both sides seem to just assume that trench warfare is fine. But for the people of Birmingham, who've now suffered well over a year of not having their bins collected. They're having to run their own bins and so on. And so on. This is outrageous. They pay rates for this. They should get a refund. They really should get a refund. And this is, it's a symptomatic of the failure of the old parties.
And even where, Reform are doing incredibly well in the polls, and it seems like that they could take a lot of councils. You can't take anything for granted. But as Matt Goodwin was saying earlier on, this is a stepping stone. So even if you don't win a council, one of the councils in the West Midlands, for example, making sure that you have as many councillors there as possible as a springboard to going into what could be a general election in just a couple of years' time, that's vital, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, there'll be a lot of people, to be frank, on Friday who will start to look at the results, whether they're counting in the day or through the night, where it'll be a case of, oh, it was 4 votes. Oh, we missed it by 3 votes. That feeling, that should spur every single person.
There will be that, and you've got to remember that though, say, Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, Hampshire, Walsall, Bradford, these are all going up fully. There are a lot of councils going up in thirds. So we do well this year, do well next year, we take control. But it's not going to be possible to take control this year in many cases.
No, but don't let those margins be so thin.
But we can provide an opposition for the first time in decades.
Yeah.
Don't let those votes.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not wake up and lose it by 2 or 3 votes. That it will be absolutely painstaking for us. So let that be the spur on just to do that final street.
Knuckle gnawing.
Exactly. Well, someone that I know will be going knocking on all the doors and has been. She was here earlier on in the studio, and she'll be wanting to get some of her boroughs up that leaderboard. As we showed earlier on, we can now cut, I'm delighted to say, live to Layla Cullingham, Reform UK's mayoral candidate. Layla, great team of activists there. Tell us where you are and what you're going to be doing.
I'm in Totteridge in Barnet. And as you can hear, and the spirit is high here. I don't think there's been a door that hasn't been knocked or got a leaflet. And listen, Barnet's going to have us a great, fantastic surprise on May 7th. Aren't we, guys? Yay! And it started raining and we embrace the rain. Nothing's going to stop us. There you go. Just to show you, I wish I could do a round. There's so many more people than you can see in the screen.
Well, that's fantastic stuff, Lily. You've got a huge number of people there. As you say, come rain or shine, it's important to get out and knock on those doors, isn't it? And the message that you'll be taking right across London, what will it be? What's the message?
Reform is saving London. We're coming to save London. Voters are not going to be taken for granted anymore in London, and they finally have a choice.
And Barnet needs reform.
Barnet needs reform.
Wide.
Get Starmer out.
There you go. There you go. Barnet needs reform. Vote reform. Get Starmer out. You heard it there. You heard it there from Layla. Thank you so much for joining us, both in the studio and on the road there, Layla. We'll let you go. We'll let you keep dry. Good luck to all those activists there. Let's take a final look now at my live leaderboard. This has been monitoring all throughout the day how many doors each branch has knocked on and who is in with a shot to win that £5,000 cash prize. Second picking up £2,500 and third £1,000. And it is still Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingham in the lead. 2,858 doors knocked throughout this campaign. That is absolutely fantastic. Tameside, second place, 2,605 votes. Blackpool and Fleetwood, strong third there, 2,111. Over 90,000 doors have been knocked on. That is absolutely sensational. 90,781 doors knocked on. 57,692 voter intentions collected. You've got 246 branches. These are branches that some of them are very new, some of them have been going for a couple of years, but the whole party is new. So to have that many people out and about, knocking on doors, having those conversations with people right up and down the country, spreading the message as to why you should vote for Reform UK at these local elections, I think it's absolutely fantastic. A huge congratulations to everybody that has been out and about knocking on those doors. It's been a great day here on the Reform UK's third National Canvassing Day. A huge thank you to all of my guests, including Gwaine and Harrison. Thank you so much for joining us. You can join us again on Wednesday for the next one. This is the night before polling day. It's important to get out and vote. It's been a fantastic atmosphere here. I hope you've enjoyed it and taken the message. Go out and have those conversations. Vote reform at the local elections on the 7th of May.